words. However, this morning, allow me to take you into the deeper meaning of this historic event. If you have ever read the Old Testament, or maybe part of it at least, you know that there is a lot of condemnation to death. If you committed murder, adultery, bestiality, rape, sodomy, or even blasphemed the name of the Lord, your penalty would have been death. Even today in our modern society, we see death penalties given to criminals. But as Christians, death should no longer fear us, because we know that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. He was wounded for our transgressions. He took the death penalty for us, that we no longer have to die to our sins. Therefore, the death of death took place on the cross, when Jesus cried, "It is finished." The great salvation plan was completed when Jesus took in its entirety the death penalty of the world. Of course, we still have to die physically, but spiritual death no longer has its grip on us. No longer shall we go to the grave and have our end be one of destruction. We are free to boldly claim the crown in heaven and spend eternity with Jesus. O death, where is your sting? All of our torment, separation, flames, fire, shame, it is no longer ours. It is not included in our portion. Rather, thanks to Jesus, our portion includes mansions in glory, crowns with jewels, streets of gold, the garden of peace, the fountain of life, heaven in its entirety, and the most blessed of all, the holy presence of I Am. Isaiah chapter 1 verses 5 to 6 says, "Why should you be beaten anymore? Why do you persist in rebellion? Your whole head is injured, your whole heart afflicted. From the sole of your foot to the top of your head, there is no soundness, only wounds and welts and open sores, not cleansed or bandaged or soothed with olive oil." Now, this verses, it describes our condition before we came to Jesus and before we got saved. Jesus came and took all of our sins, our entire bundle of mess upon himself. The wounds, the welts, and the open sores that we have allowed ourselves to obtain by sin. Sin deteriorates the soul, and if not for Jesus, our spiritual bodies would be covered with sores, wounds, welts. But because of Jesus, they have been soothed by his blood. We are now clothed in a robe of white. He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him. By his wounds we are healed. If we take time to ponder about this great sacrifice, it's a story that we read often. Everyone knows the story of Jesus. How he died on the cross, how he came to save the sins of the world. But think about it. Before we were saved, we were in a very bad condition. We were in a very bad condition. Like, think of it in a spiritual manner. How our soul would have been, how it would have looked, because we were practically drowning in sin. We commit sin like almost every single day, and every sin that we commit, it's like another bruise, another sore on our body. And if we continue to live in that way up to the point of death, our spiritual body would be completely and utterly black and dark and like very ugly. Like, think of how a leper looks, or like a person with a bunch of bumps on their face and everything, and like open sores with blood and all of that. That's how our spiritual body looked like. And if it wasn't for Jesus, if it wasn't for God having so much mercy for us, having so much mercy to become flesh and die for our sins, our end would have been so much torment. We would think about it. Eternity in hell, flames, fire, ugly demons, people all around you screaming and shouting in torment, pain. When on earth, when we have a little gas pain or a little headache or arthritis or whatever, we splash on the ground and roll in the ball and say, Jesus, help me, I can't take this pain anymore. But if it wasn't for Jesus, we would have had to deal with that and worse more in hell. Which brings me to my second point.